me tell y'all about a man named Glenn Ford, a brother who spent 30 long years on death row in Louisiana, locked up in the infamous Angola prison. Now, Angola ain't no ordinary jail. Built on a former slave plantation, it's known as the Alcatraz of the South. Ford was innocent, y'all, and his story is one of endurance and justice and the fight for freedom in a system that seemed determined to keep him down. The Ghost of Angola, the Glenn Ford story. First, let's talk about the accusation. It was a humid July night in 1983 when the dark hand of injustice gripped Glenn Ford's life. The small Louisiana town buzzed with whispers and side-eyes as news of a murder spread like wildfire. A white jeweler had been killed, and soon enough fingers were pointed at Glenn. "Man, I ain't done nothing wrong," Glenn would repeat, the desperation in his voice echoing through the courthouse halls. "They ain't care about that," his cousin Reggie whispered, fear lacing his words. "You a black man in the South, that's all they see." How was the trial? Glenn's trial was a mockery of justice, a stage play with a predetermined ending. The jury, all white, looked at him not with impartiality but with the eyes of those who had already judged and condemned him. "We got a witness say they saw you, Ford," the prosecutor barked, his voice cutting through the thick air. "That ain't true," Glenn protested. "I wasn't there, y'all know that ain't right." His lawyer, barely out of law school, fumbled through his defense while Glenn's mama sat in the front row, tears streaming down her face. "They taken my baby boy," she sobbed quietly to herself. Life on death row. Days turned into months, and months into years. Glenn sat in his cell, Angola prison looming over him like a haunted fortress. He read, he wrote, and he prayed, trying to keep his spirit alive amidst the desolation. "You ever think about giving up?" a fellow inmate asked him one day. "Can't do that," Glenn replied, his voice steady. "I ain't guilty, and I got folks out there need me. Gotta keep fighting." The family's struggle. Back home, Glenn's family bore the weight of his absence. His mama grew older, her hair turning gray with worry and heartache. His kids, now grown, remembered their father through letters and stories. "Why they take Daddy away?" his youngest asked one day, eyes wide with confusion. "They ain't got no sense of justice, baby," his mama replied. "But we gotta believe. We gotta keep faith that the truth will come out." Finally, the turn of fate. 3 decades passed before new evidence surfaced. Witnesses recanted, and evidence that could exonerate Glenn was finally brought to light. The truth buried for so long began to emerge. "Mr. Ford, you are free to go," the judge declared, his voice devoid of the weight it should have carried. Glenn walked out of Angola prison, the sun hitting his face for the first time as a free man in 30 years. "How you feeling?" a reporter asked, shoving a microphone in his face. "Like a ghost, man," Glenn replied, eyes haunted but determined. "They took my life, but I ain't dead yet." The life aftermath. Freedom was bittersweet. Glenn's family embraced him, but the scars of those lost years ran deep. "I ain't got no time for hate," Glenn would say. "All I want now is to live, to be with my family, and to make sure this don't happen to nobody else." Reggie. "They saying you did it, Glenn. They saying you killed that man." Glenn. "They lying, Reggie. They know it and I know it, but they ain't care about no truth." Mama Ford. "Lord, please protect my baby. Please bring him home." Glenn. "Mama, I'm coming home. Just you wait and see." Reporter from the local news asked, "What do you want people to know, Mr. Ford?" Glenn. "I want them to know the system failed me, but I ain't gonna let it break me." Glenn Ford's story is a testament to resilience and the enduring fight for justice. His wrongful conviction and the impact on his family are reminders of the deep flaws in the justice system. After 3 decades of hell in Angola, Glenn Ford was finally exonerated, his name cleared of the crime he never committed. Ford's story ain't just his, it's a story of countless others who have faced the same fate. It's a call to action, a demand for justice, and a beacon of hope for those still fighting for their freedom. Support the channel. Subscribe, like, comment, and share.